Hey guys, it's me, Dr. Jennifer Otter Bickerdike, with another edition of the Inside the Music Industry podcast. For this episode, we head up to one of my favorite places, Manchester, and we recorded this episode at a venue called Yes, which is an amazing 4-floor music and bar. And they also have fantastic pizza. And it was there that I met up with none other than Faith, Kyoko, and Lois, who form the band Pins. Pins are a fantastic trio that have been really kind of on the up and up for a couple years now. They're 3 lovely ladies, and they're going to be on tour in the coming months. So I really wanted to catch up with them. This was a fascinating chat because we talk about the ongoing struggle of being female in the music industry, what motherhood has been like, especially as the lead singer of a band with Faith, mental health, and collaborating with none other than Iggy Pop. Lots and lots of other stuff too. So I hope you enjoy us. Thank you for listening, and make sure you share. So let's start with you, contestant number 1. What is your name and what do you do in this fabulous band?
My name is Faith and I sing.
My name's Kyoko and I play bass.
My name's Lois and I play guitar and some synthesizers as well.
I just finished writing a book about Nico from the Velvet Underground, and one of the things that really struck me when I was reading it is how things have not really changed in a lot of ways in the music business. Like on the outside maybe a little bit, but not really in terms of who has the power in the music business. And I know in 2012, Faith, you said that you wanted to form an all-female band, but you had trouble finding other women to play with. Do you think the landscape has changed in the last 8 years in terms of opportunity and diversity for female musicians?
I think there's definitely a lot more bands that are either all female or have got females in them. There's a lot more female front women coming through. But as for the opportunities, I still feel that we're probably on the back foot to guys. You know, that's just my honest opinion. I don't know if you two agree with that.
Yeah, like Liz, what do you think?
Yeah, I still feel like sometimes you get offered support slots or like lower down the bill than you would be if you were not necessarily an all-male band, but yeah, I think sometimes it's sort of like a given that you'll just be supporting or, yeah.
And
Things have changed, but I think, yeah.
And Kyoko, like, do you think when you are doing interviews like this, is this one of the first questions people ask you guys? Is tell us about being a woman. What's it like having a vagina and being in the music business? Is that a question you get asked pretty much every single interview?
We have been asked it a lot, and I always think, oh, well, what do I really think about this? You know, because you being in it, you wonder, well, how is it going? Like, what do I really think about it? But I think I'd agree with Faith, definitely. I think there's a lot more visibility for women in music these days, definitely, and it's a lot more to the fore. But other than that, it seems quite similar.
It can still feel like a novelty.
Mm-hmm.
And that people do like, you know, an all-female night at a club or something like that, rather than it just being on an equal playing field for everybody. But I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, because I think it's better to celebrate it and make awareness of it. But in reality, when we look at like the festival lineups and whatnot, even though they've been called out, there's still hardly any female bands on there. Mm-hmm. So like at the core of it, I still think it's rotten.
Yeah, we did with BIM. We did an event, Rough Trade, a couple months ago, and some guy in the audience during the Q&A said, "I run a 50-50 male-female festival." And part of me is like, that's fantastic, but then the other part is, it's just kind of the same thing. Like, well, if you're filling up 50% and it's not good, whether they have a penis or a vagina, it doesn't really matter. So you're kind of in this weird like catch-22 situation. Mm-hmm, yeah. You know, and I don't know if there's an easy answer to that.
Yeah, because you don't want, it's like it has to be about the talent and what's coming through that's good as well. Mm-hmm. So that's what I mean, like some of these nights that are on or gigs that are on that are just for females, it's like the people will message us like, do you know any women that would want to play? And it's like, but you've not researched a band that you like, that you want to play your night. It's just anyone that is a woman, you know, like, so that, I think it's really tricky.
And I mean, all three of you play instruments as well, which I love a good synth, don't get me wrong, but you're not just the singer, you know what I mean? So who did you look up to, and like what was your role model for you guys, like each? I'll start with you, Kyoko, for you to be like, I can do that. Does that make sense? Like,
Okay.
I always loved Susie Sue.
girl.
Yeah, but she's super, super cool, you know, and when you read about, especially the punk era, about how women did have it really fucking hard, actually, do you know what I mean? But, you know, when you read about the experience that members of the Slits had and things like that, even in punk, which is supposed to be about, you know, forget all the rules before you can do anything, it was still really rigid. Like, you still, if you're a woman, you still had to struggle. It's like, that's not very punk to me. You know, I thought it doesn't embody the spirit of punk. But Susie really, she just didn't care. She was just this huge character and just expressed herself. And yeah, so I remember thinking she's cool.
I think for someone of your guys' age group, there's not that many examples of.
Well, yeah, because it's like you sort of pick, all you can see is like Blondie.
Yeah,
but it's like these one examples here and there.
Yeah.
And I always remember when we had this like moment we were on tour in an airport, and it was like a rock and roll cafe in the airport, and they had like all these icons, like pictures of them all around the top of the room. And I was looking around, and there was like probably 20, and there was the only one that was a woman was Madonna, and then all the others were like, you know, guys rocking out or singing or whatever. And I remember thinking like, it's like always difficult to say what prevents women from maybe getting into music or rock music or performing, but that is like a really good subtle way of just seeing how it's so enforced daily that's what guys
That's what
do.
I'm saying, at the core.
It's weird because looking back when I was growing up, the first time I saw a woman playing an instrument was when I saw the Go-Go's when I was probably like 12. And I'm like, I should have played an instrument, but I didn't see anyone doing it. So it's like what you were saying about like it's rotten at the core. Is it kind of those subconscious things we're picking up on? Is that what you're kind of going to, Faith?
Yeah, when I was younger, I felt the same way, like there wasn't really anybody to look up to, and anybody from that like Riot Girl movement, that was a little bit before my time, like they'd all split up and gone, so as much as I liked that music, it was like after the fact, so you know, you could be inspired by it, but you couldn't be part of it. And then like Brody Dahl came along, and that was like, she opened everything up for me, thinking, oh yeah, I could do that. And actually, me and Lois both went to the same show, the same Distillers show, but we didn't know each other.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think we were both equally as inspired by her as, you know, as each other. And like that probably paved the way to becoming a person in a band and just seeing that it was possible. So it was good to have that, but yeah, there wasn't much else.
And was it not till you were a little bit older that you kind of, or when you saw Brody, that you kind of went to ding and it was like a light bulb moment?
It's like the same. So there's Brody, and for me there was like Courtney Love as well. As a young girl who was getting into rock music, that you don't really realise you're just listening to loads of guys play music. And I remember there's like another band, Cold Chamber, and there was a female bassist called Raina, who I was like, yeah, they're cool because there's one woman who's kind of cool playing the bass in that. But it's like sad to look back and think that was it, really. And it's like, even though there's people locally who are musicians, and I like was never discouraged from doing music or any, like, always encouraged positively to do music, in fact. But it's not like it wasn't common. And I think that is what we were talking about before, is like these, or like with the bar with the just Madonna and millions of guys, is like it's not necessarily that you're not encouraged to have a career in music. It's that just subtly loads and loads of little factors that add up in your life about like what guys are supposed to do, what girls are supposed to do, whether it's well-intentioned or accidental or whatever from society, is it does sort of pave different futures for different genders,
and
usually.
I mean, and you guys are 10 years younger than me, and the fact that still is how you're feeling, like generation below me, I think is really is sad in a lot of...
I mean, I couldn't speak for what it's like now.
No.
And this is retrospective of growing up then. But yeah, it did. I think that's how I would describe it now.
Yeah, and I think too, I kind of think of it as, like we were talking before about how I moved to England as an American, and it wasn't like you can't do it because nobody else is doing it. It's almost like the thought doesn't enter your mind in the same kind of way of like, you know, I'm gonna wear makeup when I'm 13 because all your friends are doing it. It's just the thought. I don't know why I have these two as a parallel. It's a horrible parallel, but if other people aren't doing it, you're not surrounded by it. It doesn't cross your mind. I think that's probably what I'm trying to say. I wanted to pick up on what you were saying with Riot Girl, because I was really involved in Riot Girl when I was younger. I went back and I was watching some Riot Girl videos. I wasn't in any of them, but different friends of mine were. And, you know, I really had an interesting perspective looking at it as a 40-something woman looking at that now. Because at the time, I thought, I'm really doing something different. I'm doing what the feminist movement failed to do before me. When I was watching it back, I was thinking, God, I was a pretentious little twat. You know what I mean? Like, it's because I come from a lower middle class white background that I was going to bring up all the people of color. I was going to bring up all the women that didn't know. And I really had mixed emotions watching those videos back, to be honest with you. So for you guys, do you think that you can still be an activist in that sort of way, like Kathleen Hanna, or do you think it's kind of something in youth that you get kind of carried away and idealistic about, and as you get a little bit older, you kind of start seeing the problematic parts to it? I'm going to start with you, Kyoko, on that.
It's a big question.
It's so hard to unravel, isn't it?
Yeah. I never really thought of pins as being activists in that we are really focusing on all these different areas of feminism and identity politics. I think we just speak with actions, you know. So,
which I love. But really quick, do you feel you get pushed in, not to riff on pins, but you get pinned into that because you're a woman? Into having to have a stance. Yes, yeah.
I think we just speak with our actions, as in do the band, and you know, hopefully if there are younger girls at the shows or whatever and think, oh, actually I'd like to do that as well, that's the positive thing I think we'd like to bring to it. I can't speak for everybody.
I was going to say, I don't think there's anything wrong with being like young and precocious and just charging ahead and trying to change the world in a way that you see as positive, but then that's probably is after doing that for 10, 20 years, is you do educate yourself in like that quest, so you end up educating yourself to see more perspectives and more sides of the argument, so you can still fight for those same causes, but just in a different way. Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with either way of doing it, if that's something you feel passionate about. And I don't think there's anything wrong with not wanting to say you're fighting for those causes if what you're doing is just being yourself and trying to be out there doing it.
I think all three of us would identify as being feminists, but we all love men, have lots of male friends, have lots of musician friends that are men. There's like zero man hate from us. We can get looped into that thing where it just is, if you say you're a feminist, it's like as though you're anti-men, and like that's not where we're at all.
I can't believe we're like that though. I mean we're still, that is the same conversation I was having when I was 18 years old, and 30 years later we're still having it. Why are we still having it? I mean, I find
it just takes time. It takes time. I think it is changing.
You are going from what's right from you and your experience, and I hate to sound all #California, but what is your experience was true for you guys, and I think that is so much more genuine, and that's how you're going to make what you said, Lois. That's how you make the change, is acting that way, and that might change as you get older and older, like what you act or your whatever it is, like how those actions.
Yeah, you can't feel bad if you like get some new information and you're like, oh, I wish I'd not acted like that 10 years ago, but what can you do now? It's like you do the best that you can at the time, you know.
Yeah, because watching the videos, I really thought, I'm like, God, we were complete twats, and then I also thought, God, we really failed. You know what I mean? I thought we really failed. Yeah, there's this book called Generation X by Douglas Copeland, and I remember reading it in like 1992, and he says everything had been. He's like, the baby boomers, they did everything. Everything's been used up and thought of and done. And I remember reading that as a teenager and being like, that's exactly how I feel. Like, how do we reinvent ourselves? How do we make the world a better place? Because it seems like everything has been tried has failed.
What, you think Riot Girl failed? Because Riot Girl is
like one of the interviews for me now.
Yeah, but Riot Girl is one of the most influential movements, like musically, for women.
We were into it, even though we weren't there at the time to live in it.
It might not have achieved everything, but it didn't fail, did it? It's like massive, I would say.
I think where I think it failed, I don't want to get, this is about you guys, not me. I think where it fails is that you and we're having this conversation still about being a woman in a band instead of just like what's it like to be a fucking rocker.
Right, yeah.
That's where I feel like it fails. That's why
I don't feel like it failed though. I feel like it's paved the way, but we've got further to go. Like it's probably just not achieved that complete equality, and I don't know what will, because I don't think it's just in music. I think it's
everything
across the board.
I think it's a massive step forward, definitely. Yeah.
I've always found, because I'm loud, I'm opinionated, I'm eccentric, people always say you're very, very intimidating. I think happiness.
It's quite a sexist thing that
It
people say
is.
to women that are just confident.
It is, but it's true. I do think men are often intimidated by that. Do you
I
find
think
that
some
that's-
guys like it though.
Really?
I've never struggled to have a boyfriend, and I'm really outspoken and kind of bossy and rude sometimes as well. So,
Have you found that men are intimidated when after they see you on stage, they find out what you do, or they?
No, I don't think I'm a very intimidating person, to be honest.
The people that come to our shows, though, like, there's a lot of very shy, reserved people that come up and speak to us, and they're like, you know, really quiet and meek about everything, and they're like really cute. And then there's also, you know, those people that are a bit older, or we have like young women as well. So I don't think we have that crowd of like really confident guys that want to give girls their phone numbers.
yeah, we don't have guys coming and throwing their underpants at us on the stage. Right? It's not really that vibe, I don't think. Yeah, please don't.
Also, it's a little bit sad because, you know, I was single for a bit and I thought, why is no one flirting with me? Like, I'm here, single and ready to mingle. It just didn't happen. Nothing happened, you know.
Maybe it's because you kind of have to like make a living. Like in the old days, you get this massive like £1 million record deal, and everyone's like, "Let's go get some drugs and some women." Yeah. But now it's like, I've got work tomorrow, so.
It's an actual career, is what you're saying.
Well, it's a career, but it's something you have to subsidise with other work often as well. So maybe it's not possible to be as rock and roll as.
In fact, I just realised we get more interest shown in us if we go to a bar after the gig.
Really?
Yeah, that's when we get make friends, and then you know sometimes we have to tell people, "Excuse me, we're all taken. Can you just leave us alone, please?" You know, we've had situations like that. But never at the gigs. Never. No, people are just quite nice and respectful, actually.
I actually just wanted to bring it to you, Faith, for a second, and that is motherhood. Motherhood and rocking just seem like we're the two furthest things apart from each other, Jeremy Corbyn and Donald Trump. How has that changed your opinions and your outlooks on music? Or has it?
I suppose, I think there is a little bit of time in pregnancy and when the baby is born that you don't care about anything else other than just that. But now I feel ready to get fully immersed in the music as well. And to be able to be an example to my daughter is important to me. You know, I don't want to feel like I'm in the 50s and I have to be like some kind of housewife or something. It's like we can have it all, we can do it all, and it is hard work, but you know, so is anything that you want to do. Yeah, they are polar opposite things though, you know, like how when I'm doing stuff with the band, it's just just a different world to when I'm at home and I'm just like on the floor playing with my daughter all of the time, you know.
I mean, and also, when you tell people that you have a kid, are they just like, what? Like it isn't like, 'cause you're so beautiful and so fashion, like, and visually, you guys are fantastic. Does that go against what people think a mother should be?
Everybody's shocked that I've met so far. They're shocked, but they're also shocked that I'm married or maybe just doing anything conventional. Maybe that's just against the grain of what a rock and roll lifestyle should be like. But I think it's a facade for most people, the rock and roll lifestyle. You know, we all live real lives. We all have friends, we all have family, we all have stuff that we want to do, and it's not, you're not just, when we're on tour, we're in bars and dirty venues and all of this stuff, but then when we're at home, we don't want to be like that. We want to relax and we want to, be real people. Yeah.
What are some of the big issues in regard to mental health for young people in the music industry, do you guys think, or do you see happening?
For me, I would say like touring can be like really disruptive to your life, but it's like you don't really realise it till
you're in it.
Yeah, it's like when you, this is me personally, like because we were touring for ages and ages, and it was a few years ago, but when I came back, I was a bit like, felt a bit disjointed and a bit like, oh, what's going on? What is my life? It's because it's kind of two separate states of mind, two separate states of mind. But I think if you have supportive people around you and you're able to just be like rational, then it's fine. But I think that I've known other people that have struggled with those two different on tour and off tour sort of modes and switching between the two. Like if you're going and coming back a lot.
I've had some issues with being away, because when we are away, when we went to America, I think the second time, we were away for a good 2 months. And I think we'd just come back from a European tour before then as well, so we were just away a lot. and you realise you've got partners that you've left at home and you're just not there, you know. So it has caused problems for me before, but at the same time, like, well, you should just be supportive, or, you know, but you can't always just say that to people, can you? Well, support me, you know, but there is this, you forget you have your whole life still, you've left behind in Manchester.
And it's like when you're awake, like you're saying, you're having all these amazing experiences, and it's like the adrenaline of being on stage every night, and like the show's going well and you're having a really good time. And then I feel like it must be something to do with that. It's like when you're back, it's like amazing to see everyone you've not seen for ages, be back in your hometown and everything, but then you don't have the adrenaline still, so you're sort of feeling a bit, it's a difficult
Start
balance.
thinking, when's stage time? Oh no, I'm not.
Oh, when's
today.
stage?
Just used to
I wake up at
either
9
being
p.m.
in a van or being in a venue or just doing something fun like going out, and that's like every single day when you're on tour. And like when we came back from America, we just went straight out anyway. You know, because you're just still in that.
Yeah. And then when my friend would say, oh no, I went out last night, I'm not going out, we're like, oh, come on.
Yeah, suck it up.
Like
You don't know what I go through. You've not eaten the burrito at the gas station. Is there also a little bit of the kind of like after Christmas feeling, like the build up to the tour, then you go on tour and you come back and you're like,
post-tour blues.
yeah, you're just like, "Mrr," you know.
I think probably, but see, I'm always able just to have that like thing in my head that's like, look, there's nothing wrong with your life, everything's great, like, yeah, you're not partying on tour, but like everything around you is really good. But I think a lot of people, that's where the struggle is, and like if people aren't able to have that like bit of perspective, which is easy to lose, I think, then it can be really difficult because you just feel like an alien, you know, because you're not just with your band on tour doing this or that.
Some people find, like some people might struggle with touring, find writing, getting on with it. You know, everyone has like a different thing. I think it's just being aware of your own personal.
In terms of like mental health though, I think there's an obvious connection for like artists or musicians with like drink and drugs, and I think that you know, if you get into that territory, then you can just lose perspective on everything, and then you can dwindle into like, well, it could just be a complete nightmare, like you can't get through the day or whatever. But I don't know, if you can kind of try and look after each other and not fall into that trap, then you'll be okay.
Can you call me every day? Just like just one affirmation. Have there been any unforeseen challenges of being in the band?
Well,
Everything.
everything. But band members leaving was an unforeseen challenge, but that has probably worked out for the best. I think now we're in a more positive place.
There's loads of challenges, but it's all sort of
finances.
yeah.
That's one of the big
Balancing
challenges.
the books.
Do you guys ever get to like, fuck this, like I'm over it, like I'm ready? No.
Is the reward of doing it is so high
Yeah.
that it does overcome any, when you're like frustrated or tired or whatever, it just.
Or if you just go to a different city, even in another like especially in another country, turn up and then there's people there to see you, and you're like, how have you even heard of us?
Yeah.
It's like, that's amazing. And you know, just having to
It's
work a
really
bit harder
surprising
elsewhere
sometimes,
to
yeah.
be able to do that is like totally.
I mean, I remember we drove to Salt Lake City, very strange suburban area, and some shack, but there were people there to see us. It was really.
Oh, what's it called now? Kirby
Yeah.
Road.
And it was
I don't know,
literally.
it was so hot as well, and there was no aircon or anything like that. It was literally a shack.
In a suburban street, in a residential
Like
street.
a mall, like in a mall's.
No,
like
no,
over-
a residential.
Oh, really? So it's just like yours, like counting houses, and you're like,
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
it's there.
It was a
And
bit DIY, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A bit DIY.
Yeah.
But it was
There was
brilliant.
no booze, there was no bar, we had to go to an off licence. You feel like you're buying illegal drugs.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to get a drink.
yeah. I mean,
And the distance it's so funny to think of the distance we travelled to get to that shack across America.
I thought we drove like 7,000 miles on that one tour
But
in a month.
when we got there were just these people there to see us, and we're just like, good God, like how on earth, where are we, and how do you know that
Who
we
are
exist?
you?
yeah.
But they were just like
was
young,
amazing.
like they were just
Like,
kids.
oh,
They
I'm
were
so
great,
glad you
like-
came here. And we're like, wow. I don't know where I am, but this is amazing. Like, they've seen your picture on like on your record, and they listen to the music that you made in Liverpool. You know, it's yeah.
What was it like to be in America? Were people asking you, like, do you know the Queen and weird shit like that?
Yeah, people said, I remember one woman said to me, like, so you're from the UK? I was like, yeah. She's like, I have a friend in Spain.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Like, it was really weird. The best bits were like, you know, when you're just driving cross country, literally across the country, like towards Denver or Salt Lake City or wherever, and you'd stop in a service station. There's literally people who would hear your accent and be like,
Getting my friends to come over and then asking us to speak.
Did you guys like America, or did you find it?
yeah, I love it. Love it.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's brilliant. We toured it a couple of times, but it's brilliant.
Yeah, the last time we went was with the Subways, wasn't it? So we were like the support band, so it was a different experience again, you know, like every penny counts.
Let's go back to how fantastic you guys look. And what I mean, you're all gorgeous, first of all. The fashion is on point. How important is that? I'm going to start with you on this one, Lois. How important is that when you're thinking about a concept for a record or what you're going to wear on stage? How much is the visual part of the Pins brand and identity?
Well, I think it's become really important, but mostly because we enjoy doing it. And it's like, it's fun to plan what you're all going to wear. And like, I don't want to speak for anyone else, but I kind of like the like on stage persona, or like Lois in Pins persona, and I like sort of playing with that idea. And when I'm choosing outfits, like what I want to be or what I want to do, but then inevitably those outfits work their way into my actual just daily wardrobe. It's really fun. It's a really fun part of it. I would say, yeah, definitely. I think Faith's the expert on fashion.
No, I don't know about that, but like, I always think, you know, like the bands in the 60s that would always, like the Beatles or whatever, would always wear the same jackets and stuff, or even like punks with like the Ramones all wearing leather jackets and jeans. It's like, it's a conscious decision of how you want to present your band. And I think that when a band, I've said this before, when a band look as though they don't care. I mean, if you look at like Dive or someone like that, where it's like all these slacker clothes, like that's their conscious decision to look like that. You know, none of it's by accident. Bands do make a conscious decision of how they want to come across on stage, and like that's just.
Well, it's like part of a show as well. Like if I go and see a band, I want to be like, shit, that was amazing. Yeah. And it's hard to do that when you can see someone's keys.
It brings real life into it.
It does.
It? You know what I mean?
We want to keep real life away.
Yeah, exactly. Want to keep real life away. So Kyoko, have you ever felt pressured by Faith's fashion past as a photographer?
Well, I'd like to have the group approval, because you don't want something that sticks out and doesn't fit. But I like the challenge of pushing yourself a bit, because otherwise I don't think I'd really push myself as much, really. But you know, I like wearing stuff that I wouldn't normally wear, because it pushes you out your comfort zone. And Lois is right, it is fun, you know, when you're all, I love the bit where you're all walking towards the stage, you know, and say, right, we're ready for you now. And I think, oh, this is great, we're all the girls together and we're like all matching. It's a really good feeling.
It's like, you know that feeling when you're like, you're going to go out and you've got this new outfit on, and you're like, you know what, I think it's just too much, everyone's going to look at me. You don't have to think that anymore. So like, you're going to go on stage and you think, great, it's too much and everyone's going to look at me. Yeah. It's a good feeling, it's fun.
Do you guys still get nervous when you go on stage?
Not nowhere near. Like the first few gigs are like the most nervous I've ever been. I mean, a while ago, but nothing like that.
Sometimes if we've not played for a while, or if we're playing new songs, but once you're on, it's alright.
You just like click into it.
Yeah. And it's, I always just think, oh well, even if it goes wrong, and what? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not the end of the world. We'll just start it again or whatever. It'll be fine.
So I interviewed Iggy Pop for my book on Nico, and I loved him. You guys did a song with Iggy. How did that come about happening? What was it like? And did you call him Mr. Pop?
His manager, Henry, he says, "Oh, Mr. Pop sends his regards." So he says that as
He
well.
says Mr. Pop. So I'm not far off then. Okay, so I'm in the right ballpark. Okay. So how did that come about? Did your manager reach out to his manager?
When we did the song Agoraphobe, we'd written the song, recorded it and everything. We had a vocal put on it, and we wanted him to basically just to replace it with his own voice. And we told our manager that we wanted it to be Iggy Pop. Like, we had a few drinks, hadn't we? We were in Scotland.
Yeah, we were trying to decide if we could pick anyone. And we could do like a list, but he was definitely at
And they
the
were like,
top.
oh, let's just aim high. Let's just ask him. He can only say no. Like, come on.
Which is a great motto in general.
Yeah, like, just aim high.
Yeah.
Why not? And I can't really remember exactly how it happened, but it was like maybe we reached out through Six Music, knowing that he did the show there, or I think we had like our agent in America knew his agent or something like that. But it just ended up that we were able to send an email that we wrote, put our picture on it and stuff. It was really cute. And we sent it to his manager, and his manager said, basically, I'll put it in front of him and we'll see what he says. And he said yes. So,
Did you guys get the email, or how did you find out he'd said yes?
I think our manager told us.
I think it had been like quite a while, so we thought maybe like, oh, maybe he's not going to get back or whatever. And then it was almost a bit like when we'd not forgotten, but we were like, right, what's plan B? That's when he got back in touch with us. So,
but we had to obviously keep it quiet at first. We couldn't go, that is the hardest
did
thing
you not tell
I'd ever.
people?
I just had to not. I just had to not
Just had to
tell.
talk to each other about
Yeah.
it. But then he sent it when we were playing a show in Southampton.
Yeah.
We'd gone for a drink, and then we just got this email, and it was like, he sent it. So we're like all listening around the phone like this, like, oh my god, like just going sick about it.
and the sound engineer was like, we need to check. Like,
Yeah,
you see
it's
the
like,
sound
we
check,
need
and we're
to
like,
do sound
we
check.
just need 1 minute. Just need 1 minute.
This
is massive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Did you guys say it from the stage that night?
No, we didn't tell anyone.
We didn't tell anyone.
We didn't tell anyone until it was like
All together.
ready. Like,
We were probably in a really good mood doing the show though.
Yeah, I was gonna say. And then you got to perform the song "Faith" with Iggy
No,
Pop.
that was a different song. So after that, then I was on his song that's called James Bond off his new album, and that's when they said, to come down to London, and it was for Six Music, and to do that song with him. And then at the end of the show, we all got to dance on the stage with him.
This is only
meet
session
him
at
and-
First Six Music as well.
Yeah.
First and only in face there.
What was it like being on stage with him singing? What it was?
I was trying not to be nervous because I was like, it's a waste of energy. I just wanted to, enjoy it. But I feel like the whole time I was just like smiling at him. I was just like, oh my god.
It was nice. So you looked very coy and dignified. It was good. It worked. I could see exactly what was going on because I know you so well. It's like I knew everything that was happening inside. I thought, no, she's doing a good job here.
I was like, play it cool.
Yeah.
Play it cool.
And Faith said, what did you say? Like you said after, like, thank you so much or something like.
Yeah, I just said like thank you, and I was like, it's just a big deal for me because it's you. And he was obviously just like, oh, like it's cool, just being.
He's so humble, isn't he? She said,
being
it was
humble, yeah.
because she said, oh, it's nerve-wracking, and he goes, oh, what? Because it's on the radio.
Yeah, and I was like, no, because it's you.
Yeah.
But we didn't want to say that, so we were just like, kind of, but.
We'd always love to do another collaboration with Iggy Pop, but
Do a bloody album with him.
yeah, of course we would.
Who would be like your? You could pick one person to come in and do a guest spot on the next record. Who would it be?
Kate Bush.
Kate Bush.
I love her, though. That's my personal thing. I absolutely love her.
Oh, I'm going to say Brian Eno, but only because we're talking about that era, that golden era, and I absolutely love him.
Pie Smith.
Oh,
Really?
That's a good one. That's a good one, yeah.
You guys have a new album coming out. Tell us about this. When did we start writing the record?
Probably a while ago.
Yeah.
A while ago. It's like we were probably writing it when the other one was out. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while, but it's finished and we're ready to get it out, I think. Well, I know we are. We're very, and like super excited to just finally have it out. We've been playing some of the songs live already anyway, and I think we're going to be super tight by the time we tour in a month or so now. It is.
It's like it's 10 songs, but it's like been years in the making, like actual years. And we recorded it on and off. We were doing it at a studio in London, so it's like we'd go down. I mean, this was at least 2 years ago. Go and record, and then a few months later go back and record. And we were writing in between as well, so it was really spaced out. And we wrote quite a lot of songs that just didn't make it on there. So it was really just as we were going, weren't it?
Yeah, and we were still touring quite a lot, which is sort of another reason it was all spread out and done in bits and whatever. But
And the fans will already know some of the songs or most of the songs, so you've been playing them then.
Yeah.
Some of them for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
At some point in the spring, hopefully, we'll be having the actual albums out there.
And you're going like a mini tour, like February, March, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we've been away for quite a while. I know we've played the odd gig, like 2 gigs or something. But we, like last year we didn't play that much, so I feel like we need to start from the ground and work our way up. So that's where we're at.
So Lois, what do you hope for 2020?
I've got a really good feeling about 2020.
Do you?
Yeah, I have. I had a bit of a rocky start first few days, so I'm like coming back at it now. Really positive. So album out, tour the world, hopefully. Just onwards and upwards. Just everything.
Yeah.
Sponsorship, Vivienne Westwood.
I don't think that's outrageous. I think it'd be perfect.
I don't think it's outrageous
No.
either, thank you.
No. Make that list of
Vivienne,
places.
if you're
yeah.
listening.
Yeah. Faith, what about you?
Mostly just excited to get the music out there, and also we're just sorting out like the artwork and all of the clothes and the pictures and all of that side of it as well, which we love to get our teeth into. And it feels like we've had this break and now we're ready to just dive in, get it all done.
Excellent. Well, I cannot thank. I have wanted to meet you guys for so long, so it's an absolute joy to have you on the podcast. So, Lois, where can people find you on Spotify?
On Spotify, we
Yes.
are Pins Band.
Okay. On Facebook or Instagram, where can people?
We are Pins.
We are Pins. Excellent. Anywhere else they can find you?
Pins Music on SoundCloud.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Absolutely adore you to tiny pieces, and wish you so much luck.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the ITMI Podcast. If you enjoyed the podcast, don't forget to subscribe, like, give us 5 stars, share with your friends, share with your enemies. We're available on all platforms, including SoundCloud and YouTube. If you have any suggestions, questions, or people you'd like to hear us interview for the podcast, then please drop us a line through our email address that's in the description. Thanks, and catch you next time.